Welcome, everyone. If you did not know where you were before you came, now you do. This is our Welcome to the Abbey video, our new one, so we're showing it off and also showing it for people online, because not everyone is here. I mean, some people, I think, are here for the first time, and some people have not been in the Buddha Hall, so they're in the Buddha Hall for the first time, the completed Buddha Hall. We've had stages of it, so welcome, everyone, today. Today is our Sharing the Dharma Day. It is an especially special day today that people need to know about. We will do our usual program with a guided meditation. Venerable Samten will do that this morning. We'll have a short break. Then Venerable Chodron will give a talk from her book, Working with Anger. And then we will have a little bit longer session in that. Shani, you are just getting too emotional as an old person. Honestly, Jim and Mariah have birthed a beautiful daughter, Adira, who is now 8 months old, and have requested that Venerable Children and the Abbey do a baby blessing for her to usher her into the world in a Dharma way. So we will have the baby blessing at the end of the teaching, which Venerable Children will direct and guide, and we are all witnesses to this new child we're introducing to the Dharma. So that's part of what we'll do today. Then we'll break for lunch. Lunch will be a little bit later today, but we will come back and have the discussion as usual at 2 o'clock. So that's the plan. I also should let you know, since you look around and see that there are not very many monastics here, is that, as probably you know, we've had a lot of people here in the last 2 weeks with 2 major events, and one of them brought in a cold. And so the monastics who have symptoms are just not allowed to show up here. I think people should be safe. If you have immune compromised issues, you might want to put a mask on. We have plenty of them. But the deal is that if you have symptoms as a monastic, you cannot be in this room or any of the rooms. Venerable Tarpa has run around and wiped off every door handle in the dining room and area and the bathrooms. So we want to keep you as safe as we possibly can, but that's why you won't see many of us here today. So, let's see. Everyone here knows where the restrooms are. Everyone here knows where the water fountains are. Those are key things for right now. And then the main thing, I think, is just then to invite Venerable Samten to come lead us in the meditation.
So if you're comfortable, we can do 3 prostrations together. So we'll stand and we'll do it together. If you're not comfortable, please, no need. Om Namo Maheshriye Namo Shriye Namo Tamashriye Soha. Om Namo Maheshriye Namo Shriye Namo Tamashriye Soha. Om Namo Maheshriye Namo Shriye Namo Tamashriye Soha. Welcome, everyone. And I think actually everyone in the room has been with us for Sharing the Dharma Day before at some point. That's right. So no need for a lot of explanation. I'll lead the meditation, and then at 11 o'clock, Venerable Children will come in and give the talk. And the book that we're working on is Working with Anger. This is the book in its original publication view, and we started working on this book last April 2025. So we're just getting into the book. And as you know, it's not just your partner or your relatives who have struggles with anger. It's all of us. And so in this very slender book, 164 pages, I love telling people, well, 167 pages, there's 64 different antidotes for us to work with anger on. So there's got to be at least one that's going to get our attention. So a wonderful book. It has a new cover. It's in the Book Nook in Chenrezig Hall. Okay, so we're going to do some stabilizing meditation in this session. We'll do some analytical meditation in this session. And let's begin by getting ourselves in a meditative posture. So most important, whether you're on a cushion or a chair, we want to have our torso upright. And just to get ourselves settled in the room, let's just do some breathing meditation for a few minutes, and then I'll have Venerable Chuni lead us in doing some recitations, which will also get our minds prepared for the meditation and the talk following that. So let's just focus on breathing meditation for a moment. And then in the space in front, we can visualize Shakyamuni Buddha, surrounded by all holy beings. And then on either side of us, behind us, are all living beings in human form. Every single person wanting just what we want, to be happy and to not suffer. And to remind ourselves that we depend on all of these living beings. And we can reflect that we're doing this practice today on their behalf as well as our own. So we'll begin with refuge and bodhicitta.
I take refuge until I have awakened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By the merit I create by listening to the Dharma, I will attain Buddhahood in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I have awakened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By the merit I create by listening to the Dharma, I will attain Buddhahood in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I have awakened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By the merit I create by listening to the Dharma, I will attain Buddhahood in order to benefit all sentient beings. May all sentient beings have happiness and its causes. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and its causes. May all sentient beings not be separated from sorrowless bliss. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free of bias, attachment, and anger. So let's return our attention to the breath for a few more minutes. Then I'll set a motivation for this time, and then we'll start the meditation. So let's cultivate our motivation for this session this morning. And to quote Venerable Chodron, who is quoting the Buddha, as long as we have the seeds of anger in our mind, we will find someone or something to get angry at. An ordinary being like me, who has not had a direct realization of emptiness, I have an ordinary mind.
So I have the seeds of anger in my mind. And with that, then it's just easy for anger to arise. So that's something to own. We can be honest about that. We're all in the same boat. I don't know your level of realizations, so I shouldn't assume it's everyone in the room, but I'll just speak for myself. That's where I'm at. And so when I was first getting to know the Dharma, I acquired the book, Working with Anger, early on. And it sat on my bookshelf in Canada in a pristine state for many years. I would gift some of my friends the book for their birthday or a Christmas present, really recommending they should read it. And I was in denial about the fact that I have a problem with anger, like everyone else. And so fortunately, at some point, Venerable Chodron's teachings, of course, opened up my mind to the fact that this is the state of ordinary beings, and she gave teachings on the topic from various other texts. And then at some point, some of the nuns were offering meditation in Spokane, and we went through the book, word by word, which was a really fantastic experience. And so we could feel a little bit discouraged that maybe we've read the book 3 times now. And we get up from our seat, something strikes us as unpleasant, and anger comes to mind. And we may think, I'm a failure. But don't let your mind do that. Just realize this is the state of things and how wonderful we can learn antidotes to anger. We can learn to recognize anger and start working on reducing its frequency and intensity. And at some point in the future, and for me, it's eons away, direct realizations of emptiness will root that out. We'll dig it out from the root, those seeds of anger, so that it doesn't arise again. So let's rejoice that we've chosen to spend part of the day here listening to the teachings, being willing to admit to ourselves that anger does arise in our mind, and to be curious about how to work with this mental state when it does come up. And this will bring satisfaction over time. We'll be happier, and the people around us will be happier. And then we can keep in mind this very long, grand motivation of doing this kind of work so that one step at a time, we can get closer and closer to becoming a fully enlightened being. And at that point, we can truly be of benefit to every living being. So the topic for our analytical meditation today is to take a look at how attachment works in our life. And attachment is often a trigger for our anger. So it's very good to get familiar with this negative mental state. So in the Buddhist worldview, attachment has a very specific meaning. And it refers to a mental state or attitude where we exaggerate or superimpose good qualities on a person, on an object, or an idea. And then once we've done that, we've superimposed these fabulous qualities onto someone or something, then we cling to them or it. We don't want to be separated from it. because we regard that person or thing as the source of our happiness. I get my happiness from them. I get my happiness from that thing. That's the meaning of attachment. So now let's take a look inside and ask ourselves, okay, what am I attached to? You might think of different possessions or various people that you definitely don't want to be separated from, or ideas that you cling tightly to. So let's take some time right now. Let's do an inventory of people and things we're attached to that we don't want to be separated from. And then whittle that list down to one person or thing. So first the inventory, then pick one. And if you're having a little bit of trouble right now recognizing what you're attached to, it's likely because we don't think that we're superimposing good qualities or exaggerating good qualities on someone or something. It's just what we do. And we think those good qualities are in that person. They're in that object. And if that's the case, where you're struggling to think of what you're attached to, then think of the things that you hold on very dearly, that for sure you don't want to be separated from at all. And when you find that person or thing, that's a good indication of what you're attached to. In the Buddhist worldview, animals are also considered to be persons. So if you haven't found something yet, maybe it's your pet. So now you've identified a person, an animal, or a thing, and ask yourself, how does this person, my pet, this thing appear to me? And listen carefully to how your mind makes stories describing this person, this animal or thing. What stories are you telling about that person? And the next step is to ask yourself, are these stories that I tell myself about this person or thing or object, are these stories really true? Does that person or thing really have all the good qualities that I'm attributing to them or it? Or can I really look carefully and see if there's some exaggeration, some overestimation? And then with all these good qualities that we perceive in that person or thing, does this then cause us to develop unrealistic expectations of them? So what could these unrealistic expectations include? Well, expecting them always to be there. For who? For me. They should always be there for me. They should always make me happy. They should always make me feel satisfied. They should always make me feel safe. And when I'm with that person or thing, I'm always going to be comfortable. In fact, I'll be comfortable forever. Are these realistic expectations? Or maybe we might even think that when I'm with that person or thing, then I will feel worthwhile. when I'm with that person, I will be successful and respected. Can anyone or anything deliver in that way? And let's take another deeper look at how we behave when we're attached to someone or something, or even to an idea. To get someone else's approval or attention, we may do very manipulative things. We may drop hints. We change our behavior so that somebody will notice us. And perhaps in the past, to get positions that we were attached to, or to get somebody else's approval, we actually undermined our own ethical standards. And then to return to these unrealistic expectations that we develop of people and things. What happens in our mind when they absolutely, of course, can't deliver on making us happy, making us feel satisfied, making us feel safe and special, protected, all of that. What arises in our mind? Likely anger. So see if you can find examples of that in your life, and not to feel guilty about it, but just to recognize this is what attachment does. So to conclude this meditation, let's do our best to recognize that attachment is actually our enemy. We get fooled at first because there's some temporary hit of happiness that's very brief. And we often think of attachment as our friend that makes us happy. But when we look carefully at our own experience, as we did in this meditation, we begin to see how clinging to things and people and ideas actually destroys our peace of mind and destroys our happiness. And when we can see that attachment destroys our peace of mind and happiness and profoundly impacts our relationships with others in a negative way, then that gives us some energy to want to counteract our attachment and not follow it blindly. So let's make that determination.
So we'll do a brief dedication. Due to this merit, may we soon attain the awakened state of Guru Buddha, that we may be able to liberate all sentient beings from their sufferings. May the precious Bodhi mind not yet born arise and grow. May the born have no decline, but increase forevermore. We can stand for Venerable Samten, please. Thank you. Thought-provoking. So we're going to take a 15-minute break. It'll give us some time for thinking about those provoked thoughts. The walk to the Buddha Hall is maybe 3 or 4 minutes. If you want to go to the Buddha Hall, that's certainly a fine thing to do in this break. Another thing to do is simply to circumambulate the building. That's the walk that we created for this. Circulating these holy objects, aware of that inside, is a really lovely way to spend time. Or you can also just sit here and meditate and reflect, if you will. So we'll keep this space not as a silent space per se, but as a meditative space. But there's plenty of room to go out and hang out and chat before we'll. Venerable Chodron will be back. The talk begins straight up and down at 11 o'clock. So that's 15 minutes of a break. Anything else I need to say? Huh? No. Yeah, okay, see you then. And before we begin, where's our friend Dan? Well, have a seat. Go ahead and have a seat. We'll stand back up in just a minute when people start to fully return. My goodness, what a beautiful little baby blessing outfit. Gorgeous. So, folks, this is Adira, Jim, Mariah, and Grandma Carol is all here. Yeah. Hi, say hi to everybody. Hi. Hi. So many friends. And as Venerable Chodron, I'm sure will comment that when the last time we did a baby blessing, she actually ended up having the baby on her lap during her talk so that people would pay attention to the front of the room. So we'll see how that goes. But Dan is going to give us a couple of words, and then we'll invite Venerable Chodron to come on in.
Hi, folks. So I think most of you here, it's not your first Dharma rodeo, so to speak. I've been here before, but just briefly, in case you don't know about the Abbey and how it operates, it is a economy of generosity. So everything that we have, that the Abbey has here, has been given, food, clothing, everything. Yeah, if you feel moved, please consider donating to the Abbey, whether it's through service work or food or monetarily. You can rest assured that anything offered through dana will be used with integrity and well spent, and in this economy of generosity, and the teachings are given freely. So please consider, and just more of a reminder than anything else, since we're all kind of know about this. So yeah, that's all I want to say. Thank you.
We can stand and do some recitation while we wait for Venerable Chodron. Actually, since we'll be doing the Chenrezig mantra during the baby blessing, we can learn that now. For those who don't, Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om hum, om mani padme 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 hum.
Okay, hello everybody. So today, just what you wanted on a Sunday morning to hear about anger. Yeah, wonderful topic, anger. Not how to get angry. I think everybody knows how to do that. But how to reflect on your anger and see if you want to feed it or do something else, like get rid of it. So that's what we'll be talking about in this book, Working with Anger. Yeah. So we're at a part now where we've talked a little bit about what anger is and so on. And today, the section is about external factors. We start out talking about external factors that will often spark our anger. Yeah, like some person we don't like. Yeah, or some person we like who all of a sudden does something we don't like. Yeah, so the anger comes up. Okay, so let's just take a minute before we get into the chapter. Yeah, come back to your breath, let the mind relax. We'll cultivate our motivation and then we'll go into the talk. So let's start off with a motivation that isn't ignorance, anger, or attachment, and instead have a motivation thinking of how we are one member of this country, one member of this planet, a one living being in this universe. And there are hundreds, thousands, millions, trillions, Googleplexes, more of them. And so with a mind, a thought, a heart that wants happiness for ourselves and not suffering, let's remember that everybody else also wants happiness and not suffering. And to wish that, and for them and for ourselves, and to make it our job to strengthen happiness and goodwill in society and to reduce suffering in whatever form it shows. And so with that kind of motivation, we're going to listen to what the Buddha said about anger. Okay. Okay, so, right? Yeah, last time, some years ago, another friend of ours had just had a baby and brought their baby to the teachings. And the only way to get everybody's attention to the teachings was for the baby to be on my lap. Then everybody would look this way and hopefully listen. Okay, so external factors, yeah, that can provoke our anger. Yeah. The seed of anger is in us. Yeah, we cannot say, you made me angry, because the seed, the potential to get angry is in us. And when that gets watered, when that seed gets watered, then anger comes up. Okay? And then we all kind of know what happens with anger. Our usual idea is, my anger is good because those people did some bad things. Other people's anger, especially when it's addressed to me, is very bad. Yeah. What do you think? Is that the way you think? Yeah. My anger is justified good. I've got to act out of it. Put those people in their place so they don't mess with me anymore. But when they get angry at me, they're just projecting their own internal conflicts and talking garbage. Yeah, so that's a thought we need to check. Is that actually true? Yeah, that our anger is justified and correct, but their anger is not. Yeah, so think about that. Okay, contact with external factors. So contact with particular external factors may also contribute to our becoming angry. Among those mentioned in Buddhist texts are objects which appear unpleasant, ill-chosen friends, and certain verbal and written stimuli. That sounds quite academic until it hits you in the face. In our lives, we inevitably encounter objects that appear unpleasant or aggravating. Okay? It could be a dog that's barking too loud, a neighbor whose leaves are blowing on your lawn, somebody at work who is questioning, just asking a question about your idea, but we take offense. Okay. So these objects that appear unpleasant or aggravating, they may be persons, ideas, conditions such as illness or situations. Ideas, that's an interesting one. How often do we get upset and angry when we hear ideas that we don't like? Yeah, they're only ideas, only thoughts, But boy, we can really lose it. I know for myself, if I'm in a meeting and somebody says an idea that I don't think is correct or I don't think it's a good idea, this energy surges up of I've got to correct them right now. Because if I don't tell them that this idea is wrong and mean-spirited and will backfire, then the whole world's going to collapse because everybody else is going to think like that. Yeah. So then I insert myself. Hey, no, I disagree. Yeah. It's a wonderful way to challenge somebody, isn't it? So, to really see how that gets us. And when you read the news, yeah, what we're reading is so much ideas, we get angry. And I think a lot of the, what are they calling it nowadays? How we're partitioned into different groups. What? Polarization, thank you. Yeah. So much of that polarization and you're other and I'm me. And, that comes really because of ideas. Yeah. Not always so much even evidence behind the ideas as much as somebody just says something that we disagree with or that we just don't like. Yeah. And so much of the turmoil in our society right now is about ideas. Yeah. For example, what makes somebody a citizen? Whoa, that can be a very angry, charged up discussion. And all it is ideas that we're afraid will have a real world impact. Yeah. But it's interesting how just the ideas really set us off. Okay. When we are first training in patience, or that was the old translation, for dealing with anger, be patient. But patience gives the wrong feeling of, well, just sit and wait it out. And actually, I think it's much more fortitude. In other words, having some inner strength so that when things happen that we may not agree with or don't like, we don't just dissolve into anger. Yeah, but there's some inner strength, I can endure people saying things I don't agree with. Or I can endure them saying things that I think are harmful. Yeah, that doesn't mean we don't speak out. Yeah, somebody does something harmful, we speak out. Yeah, but we can do that without being angry and without making that person into an enemy who is 100% evil and wrong, which is how we tend to view people who we disagree with. Yeah, we may know almost nothing about that person, but they say one sentence we don't like, and they go into the enemy category. Yeah. And then we complain that people are so biased. Who's the biased one? Oh, you don't like when I say that. Nobody else raised their hand to agree. Yeah. Okay. So when we are first training in fortitude, avoiding contact with these things, the person's ideas, conditions, situations that trigger our anger, You know, when we're first practicing this, it's good to avoid those situations. Okay, this is done not to escape them, but to give ourselves some mental space to apply the antidotes to anger successfully in our meditation practice or our reflection time. Okay, in other words, we need some quiet time in our life to be able to reflect on the situations that provoke our anger and to ask ourselves, why do I get angry? Why do I respond to this with anger? It's not a given that everybody has to respond to such a situation in anger. Okay, so we avoid the things that trigger it to give ourselves that space at the beginning. But as we learn how to manage our anger and how to flip our way of thinking, then we don't need to avoid those situations so much. Okay? And we even come to relish the challenge that they will give us to see how well our meditation on love and compassion and fortitude are. Yeah, because as they say, what is it? The proof is in the pudding. So how you actually deal with certain situations will give us that feedback about how well our practice to combat anger is doing. Okay, with some firm practice under our belt, we can again contact these objects and people and relate to them in a new way, in a different way. Okay, avoiding people at whom we tend to get angry is not always possible. Darn it, you know, why don't those people just vanish? Yeah, it'd be nice. They could go to the other side of the world, or even not so far, just to the other side somewhere. Yeah, well, I don't have to interact with them. Yeah, is that possible? Yeah. Is that possible? We try. Go away. That works really well, huh? Okay. Avoiding people at whom we tend to get angry is not always possible. In this case, we have to do the best we can. If we feel ourselves becoming agitated around a person, we can leave the situation, telling that person that we'll be back later, we'll get back to them later when we're calmer. Yeah. In this way, we avoid saying or doing things that exacerbate the situation that we will later regret. Because usually in the moment when we get angry, yeah, what comes out of our mouth? Yeah, words that afterwards you think, oh, I was so well spoken, or words that we regret. Yeah, and the question, you know, I always pose is, who do we say the worst things to? The people we love or strangers? Yeah. The people we care about the most are the people we often treat the worst. Because we get mad at them, and then we just feel, well, we're so close, you know, and they know me so well, so I can be my actual self. My actual self at this moment is infuriated. And this person is so close that they're like a part of me that I can just go bleh, and throw my anger up all over them. Yeah. And they're supposed to say, thank you very much. I'm so glad I married you. Yeah. Or you don't say that to your spouse. You say that to your kids or to your parents. or to your best friends. Yeah. It's amazing what we do. And then we wonder why those people get hurt and are angry. Okay. We also need to select our friends carefully. Ill-chosen friends can be detrimental influences and provoke our anger. Okay. So if you choose friends who like to get angry, then, as my mother used to say, birds of a feather flock together. Then we become like those people. We get angry. And sometimes I worked with somebody who he said he didn't like to get angry, but he really did. But he used anger and these kind of pushback discussions to figure out what he really believed in. Yeah, it took me a while to figure that out. Yeah, it was still difficult. But he would get angry and push back because that was his way of figuring out what he believed. Yeah. It's not my way. Yeah. So we often didn't get along. Because I like to have discussions where people build on top of each other's ideas. He likes discussions where you're debating and trying to crush each other's ideas. Okay? And I worked with him. There was no way to avoid this until I moved to Idaho. Then, but then other people come. Yeah? Just when you think your practice of fortitude is really going well, then all these obnoxious people show up. Yeah. Why do they come then? Okay. So, upset with a colleague, Peter never spoke about it with his friend Terry. No, Peter did speak about it with his friend Terry, who responded, "Yeah, that person's a joke. You have to show him who's right and not let him get away with this. Tell everyone in your office what's going on." So that's what Terry said to Peter when Peter confided about something that was going on that he didn't like at the workplace. Okay. Hearing this, Peter's anger flared higher, and the two of them set out, devising a plan to humiliate the colleague. Although Terry was supposed to be a friend, in fact, he reinforced Peter's anger, and by encouraging Peter to talk behind his colleague's back, he got everyone in the office stirred up. Yeah, have you been in situations like that? Yeah. Sometimes it's us. We're not getting along. We go to a friend, and, a friend is supposed to take our side, right? Otherwise, they wouldn't be our friend. So, you're my friend. Part of your qualifications are you always take my side. Okay? So I'm annoyed. I'm pissed. I go tell somebody. They say, "Oh, yeah, what did that person do? How could they do that? This isn't right. Let's go, and do something about what they're doing." And then we get involved in their quarrel. And then, of course, if you're in a group, you talk to other people, because you're mad, and the person you talk to, is mad. And then everybody in the group gets triggered. Yeah, but that doesn't happen here. Yeah, we're in a monastery. That never happens, does it? Never. Except, I'm not supposed to talk about that. Yeah, we're supposed to be holy. Yeah. But, sometimes we're the person who instigated. Sometimes somebody comes to us, and then we get involved in their thing and give them advice and then, tell them how to retaliate, tell them how to, we got to tell the world about this and, we're going to go together and confront that person and da-da-da-da-da. Okay? So we can really trigger each other. So that's why we want to choose friends who won't necessarily do that when we go to them because we have a problem. We want friends who will say, they may understand why we're, revved up, but somebody who will say, why does that upset you? Yeah. How else could you look at that situation? Are you sure that how you're interpreting that situation, what that other person did, is correct? We need friends that help us really check up and see, how we're functioning, rather than friends that jump in and say, yeah, I'm angry too, let's go get him. Okay? So this also pertains to how we choose friends, and who we go to when we're upset. But it also pertains to how we respond when somebody comes to us with a problem. Yeah. Do we just instantly take their side and badmouth the person that they're mad at? Or, do we say, okay, let's stop and ask ourselves, how are we interpreting this situation? And why are we so charged about it? Yeah. Okay. We did this with one of our friends who, she used to live here. People here have heard this story before, but it's a good one, a good example. And she used to live here, so she was our friend. So, we're friends, so we're supposed to take each other's side, right? So her son got engaged, and the bride's, the fiance's family lived in California, and they were organizing a party in celebration of the engagement. So our friend, as the mother of the groom, flew down to California for the party. Okay. She came back and she was furious. Yeah, she said, my son, and my future daughter-in-law, they know that I didn't know anybody at that party. Yeah, it's in a different place. It's her family. I've never met any of them. I went to their house. I rang the doorbell. Somebody came and let me in. And then I look, and there's my son's fiancée sitting and talking to somebody. And I'm sure she saw me, and she completely ignored me. She just kept talking to somebody else. And I'm the mother of the guy that she loves and is going to marry. And she couldn't even excuse herself to come and say hello to me and take me around and introduce me to people. Yeah, you see the situation? She was upset. So at first, we kind of, said, oh, yeah, we can understand, But that wasn't helping her. She was very angry. The sympathy wasn't. Sometimes giving sympathy only provokes the emotional response more, you know. So we had all been studying nonviolent communication. Yeah, and one of the things in NVC is to tell the story without any emotional words. So we said to her, okay, tell us that story, but without any emotional words in it, you know, just the facts of what happened. The facts that everybody would agree upon. Okay, so she sat down. It was a struggle at first to do it. The emotional words kept creeping in there. But what she came up with was, I went to the family's house, rang the doorbell, somebody let me in. I saw my son's fiancée. She was talking to somebody. Yeah, when she got down to the bare facts, that's all that happened. Everything else about, I'm sure she saw me and she should have done da 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 da, and she should not have left me alone, you know. All those, whenever you hear the word should, yeah, put up a little flag just to check on it, you know. But all the shoulds had to come out, all the supposed tos, all the, you know, expectations. Yeah, when she looked at exactly what happened, well, there was nothing really to get mad at, except all of her expectations. Yeah, which she began to see, and as she began to let go of the expectations, she calmed down. Okay? So we need to choose friends who help us process our anger in a constructive way. When we talk with these friends about a disturbing event, we should not expect them to side with us against the other person, even though that's what we want. We should not expect that. If we do, our words become divisive so that we are using a harmful form of speech because we want them to side with us. So we put in all the, they did this and they shouldn't have done that and they should have done this and this is what this meant and that is what that meant. All of our projections. Yeah. Instead, yeah, recognizing that our anger is our own problem, we should say, I'm upset and I would like your help in working with my anger. Yeah. This is quite different from saying, this person made me so mad, what should I do? Which is what we usually say. Okay? Later, in the first case, our aim is to subdue our own disturbing emotion. Later, when our mind is calmer, we'll reflect on an appropriate course of action. In the second case, our aim is to fix the external situation without first working on our own mind and without acknowledging our role in the conflict. Working with our mind first is more important than diving in and blindly trying to fix a problem with an uncontrolled mind. Because fixing the problem usually means we want something outside to change. Can we control what happens outside of ourselves? No. Yeah. I can't stand that person. I want them to get out of here. Yeah, and then we say and do things so hopefully they will leave. Yeah? But maybe they don't leave. Maybe they just keep hanging around there. Then what? We haven't solved our anger problem at all. And we just get more and more angry, you know. And we really want them to get out of here. You know, what do I have to do so that they'll leave? Okay. Yes, you want them to quit the office, leave the house, whatever it is. Okay. So verbal, written, and visual stimuli, such as books, magazines, television, the internet, and radio, may also activate our anger. Yeah. And I think some podcasts are getting really expert at activating anger. You know, you kind of choose the podcast because they don't like the same ideas that you don't like. And they don't like the same people who none of us even know that we also don't like. What? Influencers, yes. Yeah, you're trying to influence people. Yeah. And if you influence them to get angry, boy, you're famous and you're powerful. Now, think about that. You want people to admire you because you're famous and you're powerful. Famous with who? Famous because of what? Powerful to do what? Yeah. Why do we want to contribute more hatred, anxiety, tension in a society that it already has too much of it? Yeah. What we want to do is contribute other ways of looking at situations so that people don't have to get angry and so that people don't feel threatened by people who have different ideas. And this is, you know, talking about political splits, but even in a family, the ideas. I want Chinese food. No, we had Chinese food last time. If we're going to go out, I want Mexican food. Oh, and then it devolves from there. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You always want Mexican food. You always insist on having your way. But you always want Chinese food, and you cry and you scream unless you get your way. Yeah. You know, when we have the seed of anger inside of us, we will find someone or something to get mad at. The smallest little thing can tick us off and become, you know, relationship shattering. You're always insisting on getting your way. This is another example of it. You and your Mexican food, you know. No, I'm always giving in to eat Chinese food. You know I don't like it. You're making us go eat it because, you know, you're resentful of what I'm doing. There you go, projecting on me. I have endured 20 months, no, 20 years, no, 200 lifetimes of you and your... And I want a divorce. Yeah, good idea. I want one too. I can't stand what you're doing. Yeah, And it was a discussion over where to enjoy the evening, what to eat on the evening where you're going to go out. Are human beings intelligent? Yeah. We think that we're so intelligent. Yeah. And if AI becomes smarter, it's going to be just as stupid as we are. And AI is going to come out with the most ridiculous things, which is already happening. Yeah. Like when one teenager started talking to their devoted AI bot about wanting to kill themselves, and the bot told them how. Yeah. Why do we want AI? Yeah. Well, when I asked that question, then the AI people say, because we'll make AI smarter than us, so it won't tell teenagers to kill themselves. Yeah. Duh. Yeah. But how do you know it's going to be smarter? It can't think. It can't reassess its own ideas. It doesn't experience pain and pleasure. Yeah. Anyway, I won't go off on AI. Just a little bit. Okay. Yes, I know I'm old-fashioned. Okay. Studies show that to keep the audience's interest, films and programs must create frequent tension points. If we observe our reactions while viewing some films and listening to some music and listening or watching a podcast, we will often see our anger arising towards particular characters and events. This reinforces our judgmental mind and anger. Recently, one of the prison inmates who I correspond with wrote and said, "The entertainment media feeds us such a constant stream of violence that we become comfortable with it until, of course, we don't agree with the choice of victim. And then we say it's a crime." Do you remember when one of the campaign slogans was, what was it? Put her in prison, put her in prison. How did it go? What? Lock her up. Yeah. One presidential candidate, I won't say his name, got everybody to chant, lock her up, lock her up. Yeah. That was a foregone conclusion, based on his jealousy, anger, whatever it was, and wanted to influence people. And the whole stadium started saying, lock her up, lock her up. Yeah, that's how easily we get influenced. Yeah. The media repeatedly reinforces the use of deadly force to resolve disagreements. Yeah, in films, what do? You take out a gun to shoot them. In video games, you take out a gun, a video gun weapon, and you shoot somebody. So in real life, yeah, you do the same. And I was thinking just today that we are so used to, people shooting people in this country, that when it happens, nobody ever again raises the issue of gun control. You know, occasionally when there's a really big shooting, but usually, oh yeah, that happens every day in America. That's how people solve their conflicts. Yeah. Something's wrong. Okay, the media repeatedly reinforces the use of deadly force to resolve disagreements. How can we honestly be surprised when the children who see this later exhibit violent behavior? Although television is a popular way for inmates to pass time, this one, the one who wrote to me, no longer watches these shows. Instead, he studies Buddhist books and does various meditation practices. The change in him has been remarkable. The great Buddhist masters recommend contemplating these factors that stimulate anger. Becoming aware of the causes and conditions of our anger by examining our own angry reactions is beneficial. Yeah, so you can feel the anger coming up and like, okay, what am I mad at? Why am I mad at this? Yeah, what am I perceiving or thinking or imputing that is so intolerable that I'm revved up? Yeah. So questioning our anger. And then the big thing is, how else could I look at this anger, or how else could I look at this situation so that the anger didn't arise? Yeah. And that's where the Buddhist teachings come in. Okay, so asking ourselves these kind of questions, this awareness will enable us to work with these causes and conditions constructively. By diminishing the causes and conditions of our anger, we will not experience the resultant anger with the same frequency or intensity, and our interactions with the world around us will improve. So just like we saw with our friend who was so mad at the fiancé, when she started looking and saying, wow, that's all that happened, and all the rest was my projection on the situation. Yeah, I think she changed her mind somewhat, because this young woman was going to be her daughter-in-law for, a long time, and she wanted to get along with her. Okay. So, questions, comments? Yeah. Oh, you're stretching, or you have a question?
So I went to a paint store that I frequent pretty often the other day, and I was talking to the young lady behind the counter, and she was expressing her frustration with the homeless people around the building, the mess they make. And then she said something that I still can't wrap my head around. She said, I need to go to a rage room. Rage room.
Wage?
Rage.
Yeah.
Does anybody know about it? So, yeah, this was completely new to me.
What is it?
It's a rage room. Rage. Anger.
A rage. Oh, okay.
Rage room.
Where you go in a room and you throw pillows and scream?
I mean, screaming, breaking things, glass. I mean, like screaming. Yes, that's exactly what it is. They give you a hammer. You could, yeah. That was my reaction. So like I was like, wait a minute. People actually pay money to go and do these things. Really? I'm like, I just couldn't. So like this and this whole thing about expressing your anger is going to somehow purge it. It has been debunked by Western psychology probably 25 years ago that,
Yeah.
whether you express or repress it, the anger's still there. And it's actually it actually reinforces this anger, this habit,
Yeah.
this habit energy. So I was like, wait a minute, we don't need more rage. We need kindness. We need a space for kindness, a kindness room, a compassion.
Yes.
So, and that's what I was getting to.
Yes,
Thank
you're
you.
sitting in one.
That's my whole point. I was trying to say that this is what I can think of as the Abbey, as a space for practicing kindness and compassion.
Yeah.
But it really is still pretty disturbing that
Yeah.
people profiting off of people's anger.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And the thing is, when years ago it wasn't a rage room, it was free of charge. And years ago, you could just go into an empty field and scream, okay? And then we would have encounter groups and beat pillows. Yeah, you remember them? Yeah, you beat pillows. Yeah, get your anger out, or you go in the middle of a field, and scream your head off until you got a sore throat. And that was supposed to, let off the steam. And then the question comes, what do you do when there isn't a field to scream in? Yeah, there isn't a rage room to scream in. Yeah, but there is access to a hammer or some other weapon. What do you do when there's no pillows to beat and you're angry? And you become dangerous. It becomes very dangerous, yeah. So, other questions, comments? You practice patience, you practice fortitude, yeah? You read this book and practice what's in the book. Not just read it and say, that's very good, you should practice it. It says, that sounds good. What? On screaming. Screaming. Yeah, then? So he screamed and made some money off of it, I take it? Yeah. Yeah. And then didn't he do the song Imagine? Yeah, when people are peaceful. Yeah. So that's what we want to emphasize. And it's not a question of telling ourselves, I shouldn't be angry. I should be kind. It's, I'm seeing this situation through a tiny periscope that is all about me, I, my, and mine, and what I like and how I think the universe should be. Yeah. And my periscope is really tiny, and it's distorting my vision. Yeah, I need to put my periscope down and look in a broad way. Yeah. And so, if you get angry at politicians, this is one good way to, I need to step back and, see it in a big way. One thing I do, and she's going to be the star of it, is think of that person that you're mad at being a very cute baby, like she is. Yeah. Or that politician that you think is just over the, you know, wasn't always like that. They were once a cute little baby like that. Yeah. And if we had known them when they were a cute little baby, we would have said, how adorable. Yeah. So they haven't always been the person that we're disliking now. They haven't always thought or said or done the actions that we don't like now. Isn't she cute? Yeah. Can you imagine Donnie ever being that cute? Yeah. What? No, he was cute. Yeah. Yeah, you're not Donnie. Yeah, I'm not saying you're Donnie. Don't get offended. Yeah. But, you know, everybody was once an adorable baby. So it helps us put that in a different situation, yeah, and helps us. Another thing that's good to do when we're angry is separate the action from the person. And the action may be unethical. The action may be unfair. The action may be harmful. But that doesn't mean the person is evil, doesn't mean the person is bad. Okay, so focus on the action that we disagree with. Yeah, because very often if you meet that same person in another situation, you could wind up being friends. Yeah, it happens. Okay, so we're going to dedicate the merit for this, and then we're going right into the profound, most important event of the day. Yeah? Starring Adira. Yeah, with mom and dad as supplementary cast, okay? But she's the star, and we're going to do a baby blessing, okay? I think she likes being the star, yeah? Okay, let's dedicate.
Due to this merit,
May we soon attain the awakened state of Guru Buddha. We may be able to liberate all sentient beings from their suffering. May the precious Bodhi mind, not yet born, arise and grow. May that born have no decline, but increase forevermore. Okay, so it's going to be online, right? Okay. Okay, so yeah, we're going to have a baby blessing. It's a way that that we welcome a new member into the Buddhist community and welcome a new member into the community of life on this planet, you know, and wish her a very happy life and a life filled with wisdom and compassion. Okay? So she started off very well. I've known her mom and dad for a while. She got lucky there. Okay? So when you become a teenager, I will remind you how lucky you are to have that mom and dad. Okay? Okay. So then, then we have something in the ceremony where the parents speak to the child. Okay. And then after they do that, then the community, we have something that we say to welcome the babies into the community. Okay. So Jim and Mariah, you're on. Yeah. Can you put it on the screen too so the others can? You can't? No? Oh, okay.
My dear child, our dear child. As your parents, we welcome you to this new life and wish you everything good in it.
Even though we were strangers not long ago, we do not know who you were just 2 years ago. We love you. We will do our best to provide for you materially, give you a good education, and care for you in all circumstances.
As your parents, we will have a caring relationship and communicate well with each other, for we know that is the best way to let you know that this world is a loving place.
We will live ethically so that you will learn good habits from observing how we live. We will work to subdue our anger and to learn good skills for resolving conflicts so that you will have a good role model for this.
We will smile, laugh, and share our affection so that you will feel comfortable doing the same.
You do not belong to us. You belong to all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas.
You belong to all sentient beings in this universe.
We want to enable you to share your love and talents with others and the world.
Similarly, we also belong to the world, and we will take the love we have for you and spread it to all living beings everywhere, because love is not something that is limited in quantity.
By loving you and loving each other, we will learn how to love all other beings.
You have come into this world with your own karma.
We cannot control everything you do or everything that happens to you.
We will do our best to nurture your positive predispositions and help subdue your negative ones.
We will do our best to protect you, knowing that as much as we would like to, we cannot prevent you from ever experiencing suffering.
You will learn through your own life experiences, and we will do our best to give you the skills to make wise decisions and to handle situations creatively and with kindness.
We will do our best to raise you so that you will be aware of your own Buddha nature, the basic purity of your mind that is your potential to become a fully enlightened being.
The seeds of love, compassion, generosity, ethical discipline, patience, joyous effort, concentration, wisdom, and other wonderful qualities already exist in your little mind.
We will help you cultivate the aspect of your Buddha nature too. We want you to have a self-confidence that is based not on transient superficial factors, but on a deep awareness of your own inner goodness.
We know that we and you will make mistakes in life and that sometimes we will be in conflict. But realizing that all of us have this precious Buddha potential, we will still respect each other and do what we can to help each other out.
We have given you this human body and pray that you will have a precious human life, one in which you not only meet the Dharma and fully qualified spiritual masters, which you already have, but also have trust in the three jewels, the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, and practice the Dharma.
Okay, now the community. We'll say this together. Our new and dear Dharma friends in baby bodies, we are delighted to welcome you to this life and to our Dharma community. Please know that you always have friends, teachers, and playmates here. Our community is a place where you can give and receive the Dharma, friendship, and help. May you develop a kind heart in all that you do. May you realize the three principal aspects of the path: the determination to be free, the loving, compassionate bodhicitta, and the wisdom realizing emptiness. Yeah. May you quickly attain enlightenment and be able to benefit. May all sentient beings have happiness and its causes. May all sentient beings be free of suffering and its causes. May all sentient beings be separated from sorrowless bliss. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free of bias, attachment, and anger. And then we need the youngest person here to be the child, to read the children's aspirations. Leah? Where it says children's aspirations for the parents. Whoop, let's get the, yeah.
Testing. You can use this one.
Homage to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the 10 directions. To my kind mother who kept me in her womb for many months. To my kind father who supported my mother physically and mentally. May my wish for my kind parents be fulfilled. That they don't fall sick and that their lives be filled with joy and peace. Right after I was born, you warmed me with the heat of your body. You cleaned my runny nose, poop, and pee without disgust. You fed me and made sure I was safe. I wish that this good relationship between my parents and I increases. As a baby, when I was thirsty, I didn't know how to drink. When I was hungry, I didn't know how to eat. When I was cold, I didn't know how to put on clothes. When I was hot, I didn't know how to take off my clothes. When I had a bug on my face, I didn't know how to brush it off. I always turned to my parents for help. Now I know how to drink, eat, and do many other things. I won't forget how my parents took care of me when I was little. I wish that I may always be ready to care for my parents when they need me. My parents look at me with loving eyes and care for me with a compassionate heart. And call me sweet names. I wish to return the loving looks, the care, and the tender names. Sometimes I have a bad temper and moody and greedy. Sometimes I nag and pester my parents or think only of myself. My parents are faced with the unpleasant task of having to discipline me, that I will learn how to be a good member of society. I wish to be good-natured and appreciative of the kindness that surrounds me, and to be kind to my parents and others in return.
He's clapping in appreciation. Wow. Okay, so then we'll all chant the Chenrezig mantra. Okay, so then, yeah, we need the, we have the, yeah.
Say this one together.
May these children live long, meet the Dharma, benefit others, and live a meaningful and fulfilling life. May they have good health physically and mentally. May they develop a kind and loving heart towards all living beings. May we help each other on the path to enlightenment in this and all future lives.
Okay, Adira, learn this. Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 Om Mani Padme Hum.
Amazing. I was just showing her those symbols of the Buddha's body, speech, and mind. She was smiling. She acted so positively.
To internalize.
Yeah, yeah. Trying to internalize. Okay.
Yeah. Chomp, chomp, delicious.
Okay. So we'll just do the dedication again. When you grow up, you can lead the chant. Or maybe you want to lead the chant.
Okay, you can say it. Desire may we soon attain the awakened state of Guru Buddha, that we may be able to liberate all sentient beings from their suffering. May the precious Bodhi mind not yet born arise and grow. May that born have no decline, but increase forevermore. Want to say anything to everybody? I just want to keep the microphone.
Future podcast.
Oh, what else do you want to share? Yeah.
Okay, well, with that joyful blessing, we'll rise. Venerable Chodron will lead us out, and we'll take a break and go for lunch. Yeah. So thank you, everyone. So we will do the discussion this afternoon. It will be based on the talk this morning. And we will do it at 2:00. So if the dishes aren't done, we'll just leave them for the time being, and then we'll come back over, have our discussion groups. The questions will be around what are the things that, those objects that inflame our anger, and how we work with that. So